Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be building a live edge end table. Stick around. Welcome to Maine, guys. First snowfall of the season. You can see all this wood behind me. Well, we had a bunch of trees cut down, and that has led me into this next project that we're going to be working on today. But before we start, I want to show you a few things. And look at the size of this tree right here. Now, I got really big hands, so that thing is massive. So there used to be a large tree there and there. They probably went up close to 100 feet, I'm guessing. And we also had another large tree right here. These are the remnants what are left to that tree. I got to get those picked up and cleaned up. And I've got even more wood down here that I got to cut up and split. I cut everything up into stove length. For me, I like it into 16-inch lengths, and then I put it on my electric wood splitter, which I've got covered up here, and just split all my wood so it's at a nice, comfortable, work height right here. And I know we're into the heating season, so this is an awesome splitter. If you haven't seen the video on this, I'll put a link up above. I want you guys to check it out because this thing's only rated to do like a 10-inch log, but I got tired of spending like $75 a day to rent a wood splitter, a gas wood splitter, to do all this stuff, and then I'm pressed and I'm breaking my back trying to work real fast to get it done so I can get the most out of my money. I spent like a couple $100 for this wood splitter. I've used it for 2 seasons, and this thing is incredible. It'll split like a 20-something inch log. I've got a video of me doing it, so go check that out up above. I found a log that I really liked, and that's what we're going to do with today's project. You can see here how much snow we got. It's getting a little bit of ice on top, so, but it's halfway up my finger. So I refuse to believe that winter's here to stay. And as such, you can see I refuse to put my bike away. I got one already in storage, but this one right here, I'm still hoping to get more rides out of it this year. Go over to my chainsaw section, and if you guys check this one out right here, this is my Poland 306A saw. I found this on the dump. That thing is a champ. That thing runs like a top. If you haven't seen that video, check that out too. But today we need this one. Who makes this thing? Greenworks. It's the Greenworks electric chainsaw. Cutting, splitting, and burning firewood is a lot of work, but in my opinion, there's nothing better on a cold winter day than just hanging out by the fire. My wife and I love it. The dog loves it. You can see she gets all curled up too, so. Welding gloves, of course. See the snowplow going by. So this is what we're working with today, guys. It's a piece of maple live edge, and I think we're going to make a tabletop out of it. I'm not looking to get this perfect, but I want to get this ridge out of it. So we'll get this kind of tuned up a little bit better, flat, and that'll be the top. And we got to get this bottom tuned up just a little bit better. But again, I don't want it perfect. I want it kind of rustic. But I think I might peel the bark off it, but I'm not sure yet. I don't know if we're there yet. And then I'm going to do something with like some square tube for legs. I've never done this before, so I'm just kind of winging it and making it up as I go. But maple is a beautiful wood when it's finished. I love the looks of it, and it's a hardwood. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my electric chainsaw, and we're going to start tuning up this, getting this a little bit straighter. Actually, what we'll do is we'll start on the bottom side, so that way I can kind of get the feel of it without screwing up the top. I'm satisfied with this being the underside right now. That's all it needs to be right there. That's smooth enough to do what we need to do with it. Because if it's perfect, then it's just going to look like it came out of a mill, and I don't want that look. I want it to look a little rough, so it looks like it was cut down. This, like I said, this tree was cut down off our property, so it will kind of have some sentimental value to it, you know. So now I'm going to do the same thing to this side, but I'm going to try to make it a little bit smoother and better than the other side, so if you set a glass down on it or something, that it won't tip over. Let's be clear, guys, this chainsaw is made to cut little branches and limbs. It's not made for this, but it's working pretty good. Oh, I'm liking this. I'm liking it a lot, guys. I'm really liking how this is coming out. It's going to take me 3 months of Sundays to clean the workshop. That's why I don't like doing wood projects. It's just so messy. I'm thinking I almost want to leave it just like that. There's a little bit of a crown right here, a little bit. I'm going to try to get that out, but other than that, it's about where I want it. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. Not liking my workshop though right now. Holy. Yeah, it's dirty. It's like using a wood lathe or something, man. Yeah, not a huge fan of big messes. So let me clean this up and we'll get back to it. Look at that, guys. Doesn't that look nice? I love the looks of that. That's gonna look good with a finish on it. But now what my thoughts are is we're gonna put some metal legs onto the bottom side. So we'll go over here to our overhead storage rack. Now this rack here is actually made out of bed frames. If you want to see how I made this, I'll put a link up above. But you can see I've got some thin wall, it's 1.5 inch square tube, and I think we're going to use some of that. And yeah, so we'll put the legs on at an angle, but I want them on the diagonal, something a little different. So it's going to be a little bit harder to cut, but I'll show you how we're going to do it. I'm going to be using my Evolution cutoff saw. This attachment allows you to cut pipe, but what it's also going to do is allow me to cut these legs on the diagonal, because I don't want the legs kind of like going square. I'm going to do 3 legs on it. I want them turned, so that every time you look at it, you'll be looking at the point of the leg and not the flat side. So, and I'm just going to guess at a 15-degree angle. So we'll set our angle for 15. And you can see that's where the scale is there, and then it's just a matter of loosening up this. So there's 15, so we'll snug that down. And then this shoe goes right on there, and that'll hold our square tube on the diagonal. I think 15, I don't know, we'll just have to try it, you know. I don't know, now that I'm looking at it, 15 looks a little steep. Let's go 10. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, 5, 10, 15. All right, so I'm at 10 degrees. I think I like that angle better, but we'll find out. We'll try it and see how it works. Now you can see how that's held in there, so let's give her a whirl. The great thing about this saw is that you can make repeat cuts like this over and over, and it's virtually burr-free and no sparks. They're just metal chips that come out of it. So we're going to make these about 22 inches long, roughly, because the top is 2 inches, so that'll give us roughly a 24-inch tall table. Yep, I like that. 10 degrees it's going to be. And there's a reason I'm not getting these legs perfect right now, and I'll show you a little bit more when we get to the end of this video. Now I'm just going to make some 2-inch feet or pads for those legs out of this 2-inch flat bar, and I'm just going to make them 2 inches long. Show you a little trick that one of my viewers passed on to me, which I wasn't aware of. This is a Silver Streak metal marker. You pop the cap off the end, and look at this. It's got a built-in pencil sharpener. Check that out. Never even knew it. Boom. Nice sharp pencil. Stick it back on the end, you're in business again. I'm going to use this same material to attach to the top of the tabletop and to the leg. And I'm going to make those 3 inches long. So now I've clamped all 3 of these together, and this is what's going to mount the leg to the underside of the tabletop. So I'm going to put 4 holes, a corner in each side, so we can bolt the legs on. By me clamping these together and drilling them this way, I'm actually being much more productive because I'm drilling 4 holes and the end result is I'm ending up with 12 instead of drilling 12 individual holes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round off these corners just a little bit. You won't see them, but it'll just be a better finished product, and I'm going to do that on the bench grinder. I get a lot of comments from people when they watch my videos that asking why aren't I bolting down my bench grinder? Because look at this thing, it's floating all over the place. And I figure that if I end up bolting it down, it makes it permanent there, and I don't want it there. I've just set it there temporarily until I can actually build a stand. I wanted to mount this on a pedestal, but I just haven't got around to doing it. So that's why it's floating everywhere. Now with all our pieces ground, it's time to set up a welder. So we've got to start out by knowing what we're working with for material thicknesses. And here we're looking at 14 gauge material for that. And then for these plates, we're looking at 1/8 inch. So now we know what the material thickness is. Now we can set up a welder. For this project, we're going to use the Hobart Handler 140, and we're going to be doing it with flux core for 2 reasons. 1, because I got flux core set up on it right now, and 2, I'm too lazy to go to the gas store to get more gas. I got to do that soon. Alright, we're going to be welding steel. We're using flux core wire, no shielding gas, 30 thousandths diameter. Then we come over to here, and it was 14 gauge, so that's between 12 and 16. 14 falls in the middle, and it says 2 and 30 to 3 and 40 will get you close. We're going to lean to the 3 and 40 side because we're going to concentrate our heat onto the metal plate, which is that 1/8 inch plate. So we're going to need the extra heat for bonding. So 3 and 40 is what we're going to be shooting for. So we come over to the front of our machine. We can see we're already on 3. And bump her back for 40. We're good to go. Whenever I'm welding, especially with flux core wire because it's so dirty, I always make sure that I wear a respirator. And you can find any of the gear that you see me using down in the description below, and I also have on a nice cotton welding jacket. Whenever you're welding, guys, make sure you tack all your stuff together first before you fully weld it. It's a lot easier to break a tack apart than it is to cut apart a full weld. So once you know you have everything just right where it needs to be, then you can go ahead and fully weld it out. I accidentally didn't record the part where I tacked on these little feet, but I put a little tack on each corner. Now I'm going to fully weld them out. I get a lot of comments sometimes about all the tools that I have, and that's what kind of makes the job easy. Well, yeah, it is nice having good tools, but you guys that are regular viewers, you'll know that I've mentioned to you guys before, when I started out with metal fabrication, I started out using a hand hacksaw. I mean, that's about as low as you can get. But my personal belief is that you don't need to have all kinds of nice fancy tools to do a good job. What you do need is to have a little bit of desire and a little bit of motivation, and you can get it done. I mean, it's not great cutting metal with a hacksaw, but you know, if you're motivated and you want to get something done bad enough, you'll find a way to get it done. And you know, eventually you work your way up, and then you can continue to buy nicer things, and then it makes your jobs go quicker. But you know, start out with the basics is what I say. And then when you get nice tools, you'll appreciate them that much more. So it's important that the top of the surface is flat and level, or as flat and level as possible. Well, the way I'm going to do that now is I'm going to use a framing square and set the height to 2 feet all the way around. Another way you could do this if you had a perfectly level work surface is you could actually just put a level on it and just go all the way around the legs with a level line, or even if you had a laser level, you could do that too, scribe it onto the legs. So you can see now how much we got to take off. So I got to take off a little bit there. Then we got to take off this much here and just that much there to get this all flat and level. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to use this disc that was sent to me by a company called Graph. And they say you can get up to like 1,000 cuts with this blade, but the one thing that I like is that it's a continuous rim. It doesn't have the open segments like some of the other diamond blades have, so this should be pretty smooth. And I know that that was a lot of complaints that people had with the other type of blade, was that it was jumpy. This doesn't seem to have that issue. And then we can weld these pads onto the bottom once they're all done. So now as I'm cutting these off, you guys can see and get a little bit better idea of why it really didn't matter about making the legs exactly all the same, because you can see the one on the back side, the leg is well further up than all the others, and all these pieces that I'm cutting off, they're all a different length. But ultimately, when it's all said and done and it stood up on its legs, the top surface where you'd set a drink down or whatever will be flat. So now we're right side up. This is completely flat, and I've just set the little feet underneath, and that's what we're going to start welding on next. And you can see how dusty, smoky it is, and that's one of the great things about this 3M respirator that I'm wearing, is that it fits under your welding hood. It's only like 10 bucks. It's super cheap, so good insurance for your lungs. So with our legs all on, now it's time to finish it. So what we're going to do for the top is I'm just going to put on a water-based polyurethane, and then for the legs, I'm going to use just this hammered tone, because it kind of blends in with the wood grain of this. So. And this is going to be for my mom. She came over, she fell in love with this thing, she wants it, so here you are, Mom. It's going to be your Christmas present. And what you didn't see me do on camera is I just went over it real quick with 120 grit over the top. I'm not looking to take out any of these rough areas. All I wanted to do is just smooth it up so nobody got a splinter. Huh. Oh yeah. First one is going to soak it in pretty good. We'll end up having to put probably 2 or 3 coats on it. It's always fun when you make a gift for someone, something that's handmade that they like. She's going to use this as an end table. I'll tell you what, that shot heater that you see right there is awesome. If you guys want to see how I did that, I'll put a link up above, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's a hydronic heater. So I just finished wiping the legs down with some acetone, and I wiped them down with a rag until the rag was no longer black. Once the rag is clear, then you know you're done. You're ready for paint. I've mentioned this before, but you don't want to take your rags and throw them in the trash. Have a dedicated sealed bin that you put all your stain and your solvent rags in, because some of these solvents will spontaneously combust just sitting there, and you don't want that. I think I've become a little less neurotic as I get older. The younger me probably would have taken the legs off and sprayed them that way, but you know, now that I'm older, it doesn't much matter, so I just spray them with it on. And here it is, guys. It's still drying. The lighting in here really doesn't do it any justice, but it looks pretty awesome. I'm happy with it, and I think my mom's going to really enjoy it too. It's got a little bit of sentimental value just for the fact that, you know, this came off my property. These are great little heirlooms too, you know what I mean? This is something that you can hand down to your family, and I don't know, it's just kind of nice. Who doesn't like receiving something that's handmade, you know? And that's all there is to it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. There's a new video every Friday. So if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. If you want to find out about any of the tools that you saw me using here in this video or anything in my workshop, you can click the link down below. Until next week, guys, I'll see you then. Stay safe, take care, see ya.